Fear is not your enemy, it's your alarm clock. Most people spend their whole lives running from fear, treating it like a monster hiding in the closet. But fear is not there to destroy you, it's there to wake you up. Every time fear shows up, it's pointing directly at the exact place where your growth is waiting. The shocking truth is this: the things you fear the most are usually the exact doors to the life you actually want. When you stop treating fear as danger and start treating it as direction, everything shifts. You stop shrinking and start listening. Fear becomes a map instead of a wall. This reframe is powerful because it removes shame from the equation. You're no longer broken for feeling afraid. You're simply being signaled. The goal isn't to eliminate fear before you act. It's to act while fear is still in the room. That single shift from fear means stop to fear means look closer is often the difference between a life lived small and a life lived fully. Your inner voice has been running the show without your permission. Here's something most people never stop to examine. The voice inside your head narrating your life was not chosen by you. It was installed. Every harsh word you heard as a child, every "you're not good enough," every disappointed sigh quietly became the soundtrack you now call "just how I think." Shockingly, most adults are not living their own thoughts. They're replaying someone else's judgment on a loop, decade after decade. This is why change feels so hard. You're not fighting a bad habit. You're fighting an inherited script. But scripts can be rewritten. The moment you notice the voice and separate it from truth, you gain power over it for the first time. You realize you were never the problem. The recording was. And recordings can be erased, replaced, rebuilt. This is one of the most freeing realizations a person can have. The negative voice in your head is not prophecy. It is not permanent. It is simply old, and old things can be let go of. What you believe about yourself, you prove every single day. This is uncomfortable to hear, but it's true. Your life is not happening to you. It is agreeing with you. If deep down you believe you're unworthy of love, you will find evidence everywhere. If you believe you're destined to struggle, you will unconsciously choose situations that confirm it. It's not punishment, it's pattern. The shocking part is realizing how loyal your life has been to your beliefs, even the painful ones. But this cuts both ways. It means the moment your core belief shifts, your evidence starts shifting too. This is not about pretending everything is fine. It's about noticing the quiet, repeated thought underneath your results and asking, is this actually true, or is this just familiar? Familiar and true are not the same thing. Most people confuse the two for their entire lives. Once you separate them, you stop being a prisoner of old conclusions, and you start becoming the author of new evidence, day by day, choice by choice, thought by thought. The body remembers what the mind tries to forget. Stress, tension, chronic tiredness, unexplained pain. So often, these are not random. They are old fear and old emotion that were never allowed to move through, so they settled into the body instead. This is a shocking idea for a lot of people, because we're taught to treat the body and the mind as separate, but they are in constant conversation. Every unspoken fear, every swallowed feeling, every "I'm fine" that wasn't true, gets stored somewhere. This doesn't mean every illness is your fault. That kind of thinking causes more harm than good. It means the body deserves to be listened to, not just medicated or ignored. When you finally sit with a fear instead of stuffing it down, something in the body often softens too. Healing isn't only mental, it's physical, emotional, and deeply personal. Learning to check in with your body, to ask it what it's been carrying, is one of the most honest forms of self-respect a person can practice. Self-love is not selfish. It's the missing foundation. So many people believe self-love is vanity, an indulgence, something to feel guilty about. This belief quietly wrecks lives. Without self-love as a foundation, every relationship becomes a test. Every compliment becomes suspicious. Every success feels temporary. Here's the shocking part. Most of what looks like low confidence is actually a starvation of self-approval that started so early the person doesn't even remember life without it. Self-love isn't about arrogance or excess. It's about finally treating yourself the way you'd treat someone you deeply cared for. It's speaking to yourself with patience instead of punishment. It's forgiving your own mistakes instead of replaying them for years. When self-love becomes the foundation instead of the reward for being good enough, everything else in life becomes steadier. Relationships, work, health, peace of mind. You stop performing for approval and start operating from wholeness. This single shift changes how people treat you, simply because it changes how you treat yourself first. 6. Releasing the past is not forgetting, it's freeing. People often think healing means forgetting what happened. It doesn't. Healing means the memory no longer runs your nervous system. The shocking truth is that many people are not actually living in the present. They are living in an old moment, reacting to today through yesterday's wound. Holding on doesn't protect you from being hurt again. It just guarantees you keep hurting yourself, quietly, every day. Releasing the past isn't about excusing what happened or pretending it didn't matter. It's about finally putting the weight down so your hands are free for what's next. This is often the hardest and most necessary step because the past can feel like identity. This is what happened to me, so this is who I am. But you are not your worst chapter. You are the one still turning the pages. The moment you release the grip of the past, you don't lose your story. You finally become free to write the next one on your own terms. Once you see your fear, everything changes. What if the thing you've spent your whole life running from was never trying to hurt you? What if it was trying to wake you up? What if fear was never the wall standing between you and your life, but the door itself, and you've just been too afraid to turn the handle? I want you to think right now about the thing you haven't done, the conversation you haven't had, the dream you buried so deep you almost forgot it was yours. And I want you to ask yourself honestly, is it really impossible, or have you just been calling it impossible so you wouldn't have to face how badly you want it? Fear is loud. Fear is convincing. Fear will sit beside you every single morning and whisper that you are not ready, not enough, not safe. But here is the truth nobody tells you soon enough. Fear does not show up at the doors that don't matter. It shows up exactly where your growth is waiting. The size of your fear is often the size of your calling. If it didn't matter, you wouldn't be afraid of it. Most of us are not even living our own thoughts. We are replaying old recordings, a parent's disappointment, a teacher's careless comment, a moment of rejection we never processed. And we call this old noise reality. But a recording is not a life sentence. It can be paused. It can be erased. It can be replaced with a voice that finally sounds like love instead of judgment. And here is the part that will shake you if you let it. Your life has been agreeing with you. Every belief you carry about yourself has been quietly proven, day after day, not because the universe is cruel, but because belief creates evidence. If you believe you are unworthy, you will find proof. If you believe you are capable, you will find proof of that too. The evidence was never the point. The belief underneath it always was. Even your body has been keeping score. That tiredness that never fully lifts, that tension you carry in your shoulders like an old coat you forgot to take off. So much of it is unspoken fear that never got to move, so it made a home inside you instead. Your body is not betraying you. It is asking you, gently, to finally listen. And listening starts with one radical act: loving yourself. Not as a reward for being good enough, but as the foundation you stand on before anything else is even possible. Self-love is not arrogance. It is not indulgence. It is the simple decision to finally speak to yourself the way you'd speak to someone you refuse to give up on. Because healing was never about forgetting what happened to you. It is about no longer letting yesterday run today. You are allowed to put the weight down. You are allowed to stop living in the moment that hurt you and start living in the one you're standing in right now. So what if today is the day you finally look fear in the eye, not to fight it, but to thank it, because it was only ever pointing you toward the life you were too afraid to claim. Once you see your fear clearly, you stop running from it. And once you stop running, everything changes. Not because fear disappears, but because you finally do. You become someone who moves forward with fear beside them instead of behind them, controlling them. That is not the absence of fear. That is mastery over it. And that mastery begins the second you stop asking fear to leave and start asking yourself to grow. This is your moment, not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, now, while the fear is still in the room, while your hands are still shaking, while the door is still slightly open. Walk through it anyway. That is where your new life begins.